The rich and diverse history of Islam is a testament to the faith's profound impact on the world. From its humble beginnings in the Arabian Peninsula to its current role as a major world religion, Islam's journey is marked by remarkable achievements, significant cultural exchanges, and enduring contributions to science, art, and philosophy. In this video, we will discuss the history of Islam, from origins to modern day. Let's begin. In the vast deserts of the Arabian Peninsula, a land of stark contrasts and vibrant cultures, Islam found its beginnings. This region, characterized by its harsh environment and sparse population, was home to a diverse array of tribes and communities. These tribes, often nomadic, had developed a rich cultural tapestry woven with threads of poetry, trade, and religious practices. Before the advent of Islam, the Arabian Peninsula was a melting pot of various beliefs, with many tribes practicing polytheism. They worshipped a plethora of gods and spirits, often centered around natural elements and celestial bodies. The Kaaba in Mecca, even in pre-Islamic times, was a significant religious site, housing idols of various deities and attracting pilgrims from across the region. Against this backdrop, in the bustling city of Mecca, the Prophet Muhammad was born around 570 CE into the Hashim clan of the powerful Quraysh tribe. Muhammad's early life was marked by hardship and loss. Orphaned at a young age, he was raised by his grandfather Abdul Muttalib and later by his uncle Abu Talib. Despite these challenges, Muhammad grew to be known for his honesty, earning the titles of Al-Amin, the trustworthy, and Al-Sadiq, the truthful. His reputation led him to a successful career as a merchant, working for a wealthy widow named Khadija, who would later become his wife and staunchest supporter. Muhammad's life took a transformative turn in his 40s. Seeking solitude and contemplation, he would retreat to the cave of Hira on the outskirts of Mecca. It was here, during the month of Ramadan, that he received his first revelation from Allah through the Archangel Gabriel. This moment marked the beginning of a new era. The message Muhammad received was clear. There is only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. This revelation laid the foundation for the monotheistic faith of Islam, challenging the polytheistic traditions entrenched in Arabian society. At first, Muhammad's message was met with resistance. The idea of monotheism was radical and threatening to the Quraysh, who had vested interests in maintaining the status quo, particularly the lucrative pilgrimage trade centered around the Kaaba's idols. Muhammad's early followers were few, comprising close friends and family members such as his wife Khadija, his cousin Ali, and his friend Abu Bakr. Despite the initial support from these loyal companions, the nascent Muslim community faced significant persecution. The Quraysh leaders saw Muhammad's teachings as a direct threat to their authority and economic interests, leading to widespread hostility and violence against the early Muslims. As the opposition in Mecca intensified, Muhammad and his followers found it increasingly difficult to practice their faith openly. Seeking a safe haven, Muhammad was invited to the city of Yathrib, later known as Medina. This invitation marked a pivotal moment in Islamic history, known as the Hijra, or migration. In 622 CE, Muhammad and his followers left Mecca for Medina, an event that not only marked the beginning of the Islamic calendar but also the establishment of the first Muslim community, or Ummah. In Medina, Muhammad assumed the role of both a spiritual leader and a statesman, mediating disputes and uniting the city's diverse tribes under the banner of Islam. The Medinan period was a time of consolidation and growth for the early Muslim community. Muhammad continued to receive revelations, which were recorded and later compiled into the Quran, the holy book of Islam. The Quran provided guidance on all aspects of life, from spiritual practices to social justice, emphasizing principles such as charity, compassion, and equality. The new community in Medina became a model for Islamic governance, blending spiritual leadership with political authority. However, the struggle for the survival and spread of Islam was far from over. The Quraysh in Mecca, unwilling to accept the rise of Islam, engaged in a series of conflicts with the Muslims in Medina. Notable among these were the battles of Badr, Uhud, and the Trench. Despite being outnumbered and often facing overwhelming odds, the Muslims' faith and strategic acumen led to several significant victories. These battles not only demonstrated the growing strength and unity of the Muslim community, but also highlighted Muhammad's leadership and tactical brilliance. The eventual conquest of Mecca in 630 CE marked a turning point in Islamic history. Muhammad's return to his birthplace was characterized by an unprecedented act of mercy and forgiveness. Instead of seeking revenge, he pardoned many of his former adversaries, an act that won him widespread respect and allegiance. The idols in the Kaaba were destroyed, reaffirming the monotheistic message of Islam. This event solidified the foundation of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula, leading to the conversion of many tribes and the establishment of Islam as the dominant faith in the region. Muhammad's final years were dedicated to consolidating the Islamic community and spreading its message beyond the Arabian Peninsula. He sent envoys to neighboring empires inviting rulers to embrace Islam. His farewell pilgrimage in 632 CE, where he delivered the famous farewell sermon, encapsulated the core principles of Islam, emphasizing equality, justice, and the importance of adhering to the Quran and his teachings. Muhammad's death in 632 CE marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new chapter in Islamic history. His passing left a profound impact on his followers, who were now tasked with preserving and spreading his message. The early Muslim community, guided by the teachings of the Quran and the example of the Prophet, embarked on a journey that would see Islam evolve into a global faith, influencing countless cultures and societies across the centuries. The story of Islam's birth is one of resilience, faith, and transformative change. From the early revelations in the cave of Hira to the establishment of a unified Muslim community in Medina and the eventual triumph in Mecca, the journey of Prophet Muhammad and his followers set the stage for the enduring legacy of Islam. This chapter in Islamic history not only highlights the spiritual and moral foundations of the faith, but also underscores the profound impact of Muhammad's leadership and vision in shaping a new religious and social order. Following the death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632 CE, the nascent Muslim community faced the daunting task of continuing the Prophet's mission without his direct leadership. This period, known as the era of the rightly guided caliphs, Rashidun, was characterized by both internal consolidation and significant territorial expansion. The first caliph, Abu Bakr, was a close companion of Muhammad and a trusted leader within the community. His brief reign, 632-634 CE, was marked by the Ridda Wars, a series of military campaigns against rebellious Arab tribes that sought to secede from the Islamic State. Abu Bakr's successful efforts in reuniting the Arabian Peninsula under Islam set the stage for future expansions. Upon Abu Bakr's death, Umar ibn al-Khattab assumed the caliphate. His 10-year rule, 634-644 CE, witnessed unprecedented territorial expansion. Under Umar's leadership, the Muslim armies embarked on campaigns that brought them into direct conflict with the Byzantine and Sasanian empires. The decisive Battle of Yarmouk in 636 CE against the Byzantines and the Battle of Qadisiyah in 637 CE against the Sasanians were pivotal victories that facilitated the Muslim conquest of the Levant and Persia, respectively. Umar's administration was notable for its pragmatic and just governance. He established a formal system of administration, divided the newly acquired territories into provinces, and implemented social and economic reforms that emphasized justice and welfare for all citizens. Umar's assassination in 644 CE led to the appointment of Uthman ibn Affan as the third caliph. Uthman, a member of the influential Umayyad clan, continued the policy of expansion. His reign saw the Muslim navy's development, which played a crucial role in the conquest of Cyprus and other Mediterranean islands. However, Uthman's rule also faced internal dissent. Accusations of nepotism and favoritism towards his Umayyad relatives led to growing unrest. This culminated in Uthman's assassination in 656 CE, a turning point that marked the beginning of internal strife within the Muslim community. The fourth caliph, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, faced immense challenges. His caliphate was marked by civil war and factionalism. The first major conflict, the Battle of the Camel in 656 CE, saw Ali's forces clash with those of Aisha, the Prophet's widow, and her supporters. This was followed by the Battle of Siffin in 657 CE against the forces of Muawiyah, the governor of Syria, and Uthman's kinsman. The resulting arbitration failed to resolve the conflict, leading to the emergence of the Kharijiti sect, which opposed both Ali and Muawiyah. Ali's assassination in 661 CE marked the end of the Rashidun Caliphate and the beginning of the Umayyad dynasty under Muawiyah. The Umayyad Caliphate, with its capital in Damascus, represented a shift from the previously austere and egalitarian governance of the Rashidun to a more centralised and hereditary monarchy. Muawiyah the first Umayyad caliph, consolidated power and expanded the empire's frontiers. His reign, 661 to 680 CE, saw the continuation of military campaigns, notably in North Africa and Central Asia. The conquest of the Iberian Peninsula began under the Umayyads, with Muslim forces crossing into Spain in 711 CE, leading to the establishment of Al-Andalus. The Umayyad period was marked by significant administrative and cultural developments. Arabic was adopted as the official language of administration, replacing Greek and Persian. This facilitated greater cohesion and unity within the diverse empire. The Umayyads also undertook grand architectural projects, including the construction of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem and the Great Mosque of Damascus, showcasing the empire's wealth and artistic achievements. Despite these successes, the Umayyad dynasty faced considerable opposition. The perceived favoritism towards Arab Muslims and the marginalization of non-Arab converts, Mawali, led to growing discontent. This resentment, combined with internal corruption and decadence, set the stage for the Abbasid Revolution. In 750 CE, the Umayyad Caliphate was overthrown by the Abbasids, who claimed descent from Muhammad's uncle, Abbas. The only surviving Umayyad prince, Abd al-Rahman I, fled to Spain, where he established the Emirate of Córdoba, ensuring the continuation of Umayyad rule in the West. The Abbasid Caliphate, with its new capital in Baghdad, ushered in a golden age of Islamic civilization. The Abbasids, unlike their Umayyad predecessors, embraced a more inclusive approach, incorporating non-Arab Muslims into the administrative and military framework. This period, particularly during the reigns of Harun al-Rashid, 786–809 CE, and his son al-Ma'mun, 813–833 CE, saw remarkable achievements in various fields of knowledge. Baghdad became a center of learning and culture, home to the renowned House of Wisdom, Beit al-Hikmah, where scholars of diverse backgrounds translated and preserved classical works of science, medicine, and philosophy. Abbasid society was characterized by a vibrant intellectual and cultural life. Advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and chemistry during this period had a lasting impact on both the Islamic world and Europe. Scholars such as Al-Khwarizmi, whose works laid the foundation for algebra, and Ibn Sina, Avicenna, whose medical texts were used for centuries, exemplified the era's intellectual achievements. The arts also flourished, with Persian influences enriching Islamic literature, poetry, and visual arts. However, the vast Abbasid Empire faced challenges similar to those of the Umayyads. Maintaining control over distant provinces proved increasingly difficult, leading to the emergence of semi-independent states and regional dynasties. The Fatimids in North Africa, the Buyids in Persia, and later the Seljuks all carved out their own territories, often acknowledging the Abbasid Caliph in name only. The fragmentation of the Abbasid Caliphate culminated in the Mongol invasion of 1258 CE, which resulted in the sack of Baghdad and the end of Abbasid political authority. Despite the political fragmentation, Islamic civilization continued to thrive under various regional powers. The Seljuk Empire, for instance, played a crucial role in revitalizing Sunni Islam and curbing the spread of Shia influence. The Seljuks also established the Nizamiya madrasas, institutions that became centers of learning and helped preserve Islamic scholarship. The Islamic world saw another resurgence under the Ottoman Empire, which emerged in the late 13th century in Anatolia. The Ottomans, under leaders like Mehmed the Conqueror and Suleiman the Magnificent, expanded their empire to encompass vast territories across Europe, Asia, and Africa. The capture of Constantinople in 1453 CE by Mehmed II marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the establishment of Istanbul as the new Ottoman capital. The Ottomans' administrative acumen, military prowess, and cultural achievements ensured their dominance for centuries, making them a central force in the Islamic world until the early 20th century. The early Islamic caliphates, from the Rashidun to the Abbasids, laid the foundation for the rich and diverse history of the Islamic world. Their conquests, administrative innovations, and cultural contributions created a legacy that influenced subsequent Muslim societies and left an indelible mark on world history. The story of these early caliphates is one of dynamic expansion, intellectual flourishing, and enduring impact, setting the stage for the continued evolution of Islamic civilization. Islamic civilization's golden age, often dated from the 8th to the 14th centuries, represents a period of remarkable cultural, scientific, and intellectual achievements that have had a lasting influence on the world. This era, particularly under the Abbasid Caliphate, saw the flourishing of arts, architecture, science, medicine, and philosophy, blending diverse cultural influences into a rich tapestry of innovation and creativity. Art and architecture in the Islamic world were profoundly influenced by the religion's principles and the diverse cultures it encountered. Islamic art is characterized by intricate geometric patterns, elaborate calligraphy, and vibrant arabesques, reflecting the Islamic emphasis on aniconism, the avoidance of depicting sentient beings. This led artists to explore non-figurative forms extensively, resulting in highly sophisticated and symbolic art forms. Calligraphy, especially, became a revered art, used not only in religious texts, but also in decorating buildings, ceramics, textiles, and manuscripts. The Quran's verses adorned many architectural elements, showcasing the spiritual and aesthetic value of the written word in Islam. Islamic architecture saw the construction of magnificent mosques, palaces, and public buildings that combined functional design with exquisite beauty. The use of domes, minarets, courtyards, and iwans became defining features of Islamic architectural style. Notable examples include the Great Mosque of Cordoba, with its hypostyle hall and double-tiered arches, the Alhambra in Granada, with its stunningly detailed stucco work and serene gardens, and the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, which stands as one of the earliest and most iconic Islamic structures. These buildings were not only places of worship or residence, but also centers of community life and learning. Advances in science and medicine during the Islamic Golden Age were pioneering and laid the groundwork for many modern disciplines. Muslim scholars made significant contributions to fields such as mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, and medicine, often building upon the knowledge of earlier civilizations like the Greeks, Persians, and Indians. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad, established by Caliph al-Ma'mun, became a renowned center for scholarly activity, where texts from various cultures were translated into Arabic and studied. In mathematics, scholars like Al-Khwarizmi made groundbreaking contributions. His works introduced the fundamental concepts of algebra and algorithms, terms derived from his name, that remain central to mathematics today. The development of algebra was a significant leap, providing a more systematic approach to solving equations than previously existed. Al-Khwarizmi's work was later translated into Latin and became a crucial resource for European scholars during the Renaissance. Astronomy also saw remarkable advancements. Muslim astronomers like al-Battani and Ibn al-Haytham made significant strides in understanding celestial movements and optics. Al-Battani's precise calculations of the solar year and eclipses were highly influential, while Ibn al-Haytham's pioneering work in optics laid the foundation for modern scientific methods. His book, Kitab al-Manazir, Book of Optics, introduced theories about vision and light that predated and influenced later European scientific thought. Medicine in the Islamic world reached new heights with scholars like al-Razi, Rhazes, and Ibn Sina, Avicenna. Al-Razi's extensive medical encyclopedia, Kitab al-Hawi, compiled Greek, Persian, and Indian medical knowledge and added his clinical observations and innovations. He is also credited with distinguishing between smallpox and measles and advocating for evidence-based medicine. Ibn Sina's The Canon of Medicine, Al-Qanun fi al-Tib, became a seminal medical text in both the Islamic world and medieval Europe, used as a standard reference for centuries. His comprehensive approach to medicine, including the integration of various medical traditions and an emphasis on clinical practice and pharmacology, significantly advanced medical science. Islamic literature and philosophy during this period also thrived, reflecting the rich cultural exchanges and intellectual dynamism of the time. Persian literature flourished with poets like Rumi, Sa'adi, and Hafez, whose works explored themes of love, mysticism, and human nature. The epic poem Shahnameh by Ferdowsi is a monumental work of Persian literature, recounting the mythical and historical past of Persia with profound cultural and literary impact. Arabic literature saw the creation of timeless works, such as 1001 Nights, a collection of stories that blend folklore, adventure, and moral lessons, and Alf Layla wa Layla, which became a treasure trove of narrative art influencing global storytelling traditions. Philosophers like Al-Farabi, Ibn Rushd, Averroes, and Al-Ghazali engaged deeply with Greek philosophy, particularly the works of Aristotle and Plato, integrating them with Islamic thought. Al-Farabi's writings on political philosophy and metaphysics sought to harmonize Platonic and Islamic ideas, envisioning an ideal society guided by reason and virtue. Ibn Rushd's extensive commentaries on Aristotle reintroduced and revitalized Aristotelian philosophy in both the Islamic world and medieval Europe, earning him the title, the Commentator. His efforts to reconcile reason and faith left a lasting legacy on Islamic and Western thought. Al-Ghazali, on the other hand, emphasized the limits of rationalism and the importance of spiritual experience, profoundly influencing Islamic theology and Sufism. trade and commerce played a crucial role in the spread of Islamic culture and ideas. The vast network of trade routes that crisscrossed the Islamic world facilitated not only the exchange of goods, but also the movement of people, knowledge, and cultural practices. The Silk Road, maritime routes across the Indian Ocean, and trans-Saharan trade routes connected the Islamic world with Europe, Africa, and Asia, creating a vibrant and interconnected global economy. Muslim merchants and explorers like Ibn Battuta traveled extensively, documenting their journeys and providing valuable insights into the diverse cultures and societies they encountered. The spread of Islamic culture through trade also led to the dissemination of Islamic architectural styles, scientific knowledge, and artistic traditions. Cities like Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba became cosmopolitan centers of learning and commerce, attracting scholars, artists, and traders from across the world. The translation movement, patronized by the Abbasid caliphs, ensured that scientific and philosophical works from different cultures were preserved, studied, and built upon, fostering a spirit of intellectual curiosity and innovation. The spread of Islam and its cultural influence extended to regions far beyond the traditional heartlands of the Middle East. In West Africa, the empires of Mali and Songhai embraced Islam, integrating it into their political and cultural systems. The legendary wealth of Mansa Musa, the ruler of Mali, and his famous pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 CE showcased the deep connections between West Africa and the broader Islamic world. In Southeast Asia, Islam spread through trade and missionary activities, leading to the establishment of Islamic sultanates in regions such as Indonesia and Malaysia. The cultural syncretism in these regions created unique blends of local traditions and Islamic practices, enriching the global tapestry of Islamic civilization. The cultural contributions of the Islamic world during this period were profound and far-reaching. The fusion of artistic traditions, scientific inquiry, philosophical discourse, and economic networks created a dynamic and vibrant civilization that left an indelible mark on human history. This period of intellectual and cultural flourishing not only advanced knowledge and arts within the Islamic world, but also laid the foundations for the Renaissance and the modern scientific revolution, underscoring the enduring legacy of Islamic civilization in shaping our world. The Crusades, a series of religious wars initiated by the Latin Church in the medieval period, marked a significant and tumultuous chapter in Islamic history. These wars, spanning from the late 11th to the late 13th centuries, aimed primarily at reclaiming Jerusalem and other holy sites in the Near East from Muslim control. The Crusades brought extensive conflict, cultural exchanges, and lasting legacies that deeply impacted both the Islamic world and Christendom. The First Crusade, launched in 1096 CE, resulted in the capture of Jerusalem in 1099 CE and the establishment of several Crusader states, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The success of the First Crusade came as a shock to the Muslim world, which was fragmented and politically unstable at the time. The Seljuk Empire, which had previously controlled much of the region, was in decline, weakened by internal strife and external pressures. This fragmentation allowed the Crusaders to capture key territories with relative ease, leading to a period of Latin Christian rule in the Levant. The response from the Muslim world was initially slow, but it gradually intensified. One of the first significant Muslim leaders to respond to the Crusader threat was Imad al-Din Zengi, the governor of Mosul and Aleppo. In 1144 CE, Zengi captured the Crusader-held city of Edessa, marking a turning point and triggering the launch of the Second Crusade by the Latin Church. However, the Second Crusade, 1147-1150 CE, ended in failure for the Crusaders, who were unable to recapture Edessa and faced strong resistance from Muslim forces. The rise of Nur al-Din, Zengi's son, marked a new phase in the Muslim response to the Crusades. Nur al-Din's efforts to unify the Muslim territories of Syria and Egypt under his rule created a more formidable opposition to the Crusaders. His strategic acumen and commitment to jihad against the Crusaders laid the groundwork for future successes. However, it was his successor, Saladin, who emerged as one of the most iconic figures in the history of the Crusades. Saladin, a Kurdish general who rose to power in Egypt, became the Sultan of Egypt and Syria and led the Muslim forces against the Crusaders. His capture of Jerusalem in 1187 CE, following the decisive Battle of Hattin, was a monumental event that reshaped the political landscape of the region. Saladin's chivalrous conduct and strategic brilliance earned him a reputation as a formidable and honorable leader. His victory prompted the Third Crusade, 1189-1192 CE, led by prominent European monarchs, including Richard the Lionheart of England. Although the Third Crusade failed to recapture Jerusalem, it resulted in a truce that allowed Christian pilgrims access to the Holy City. The subsequent Crusades, including the Fourth Crusade and the Children's Crusade, were marked by internal divisions among the Crusaders and declining effectiveness. The Fourth Crusade, instead of targeting Muslim-controlled territories, infamously diverted to Constantinople, leading to the sacking of the Byzantine capital in 1204 CE. This event deepened the schism between the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches and weakened Byzantine power, indirectly benefiting the Muslim states. The Mamluk Sultanate, emerging from the remnants of the Ayyubid dynasty, played a crucial role in ending the Crusader presence in the Levant. The Mamluks, initially slave soldiers, rose to power in Egypt and established a powerful military regime. Under leaders like Sultan Baybars and Sultan Qalawun, the Mamluks launched successful campaigns against the Crusader states. The capture of Acre in 1291 CE by the Mamluks marked the end of the Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem and the Latin Christian presence in the Holy Land. The aftermath of the Crusades had lasting impacts on both the Islamic world and Europe. For the Muslim world, the Crusades reinforced the importance of unity and military preparedness. The conflicts also stimulated intellectual and cultural exchanges between the East and West. European Crusaders encountered advanced Islamic sciences, medicine, and philosophy, which they brought back to Europe, contributing to the intellectual revival that would later culminate in the Renaissance. The Crusades also left a legacy of mistrust and hostility between Christians and Muslims, a legacy that persisted for centuries. However, they also led to periods of coexistence and cultural blending, particularly in the Crusader states, where Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived in close proximity. The Crusader castles and fortifications built during this period, such as Croc de Chevalier and the fortress of Belvoir, remain as architectural testimonies to the era's military and cultural exchanges. Following the Crusades, the Islamic world continued to experience significant political and cultural developments. The Mamluk Sultanate, which had successfully repelled the Crusaders, emerged as a dominant power in the Eastern Mediterranean. The Mamluks ruled Egypt and Syria from the mid-13th century until the early 16th century, during which they repelled invasions, including those by the Mongols. The Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260 CE was a pivotal moment when the Mamluks decisively defeated the Mongol army, halting their advance into the Islamic heartlands. The Mamluk era was also marked by cultural and architectural achievements. The Mamluks were great patrons of art and architecture, commissioning the construction of grand mosques, madrasas, Islamic schools, and caravanserais inns for travelers. The architectural style of the Mamluks is characterized by intricate stonework, geometric patterns, and the use of domes and minarets. Notable examples include the Mosque of Sultan Hassan in Cairo and the Qalawun complex, which remain significant landmarks in Islamic architecture. As the Mamluks were consolidating their power in Egypt and Syria, another formidable Islamic empire was rising in Anatolia. The Ottoman Empire, founded by Osman I in the late 13th century, would go on to become one of the most powerful and enduring empires in history. The Ottomans capitalized on the decline of the Byzantine Empire and the fragmentation of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum, expanding their territories through military prowess and strategic diplomacy. The capture of Constantinople in 1453 CE by Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of the Ottoman ascendancy. Renamed Istanbul, the city became the capital of the Ottoman Empire and a symbol of its power and cultural fusion. The Ottomans continued to expand their empire, reaching the height of their power under Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century. Suleiman's reign saw the consolidation of Ottoman rule in the Middle East, North Africa, and Eastern Europe, making the empire a major political and cultural force. The Ottoman Empire's governance model, which included the millet system, allowed for a degree of religious and cultural autonomy for different communities within the empire. This system helped maintain relative stability and coexistence among the diverse populations under Ottoman rule, including Muslims, Christians, and Jews. The Ottomans also made significant contributions to art, architecture, and scholarship. The construction of grand architectural works, such as the Süleymaniye Mosque and the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, exemplified the empire's architectural and artistic achievements. The impact of the Crusades and the subsequent rise of the Mamluk and Ottoman empires had profound and lasting effects on the Islamic world. These events not only shaped the political landscape, but also influenced cultural and intellectual developments. The interactions between the Islamic world and Europe during the Crusades, followed by the Ottoman Empire's role as a bridge between East and West, contributed to a complex and multifaceted legacy that continues to resonate in contemporary times. The history of the Crusades and the Islamic empires that followed highlights the dynamic and interconnected nature of medieval history. It underscores the resilience and adaptability of the Islamic world in the face of external challenges and internal transformations. The period also serves as a reminder of the rich cultural exchanges and intellectual advancements that emerged from the interactions between diverse civilizations, leaving a lasting legacy on the global stage. The advent of colonialism in the 19th and early 20th centuries marked a significant turning point in the history of the Islamic world. European powers, driven by economic interests and a sense of imperialist mission, expanded their control over vast territories in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, profoundly impacting the political, social, and economic structures of Muslim societies. The imposition of colonial rule often disrupted traditional systems of governance and altered the course of Islamic history. The Ottoman Empire, long a dominant force in the Islamic world, faced considerable pressure from European powers. The empire's decline was exacerbated by internal strife, economic difficulties, and military defeats. The Treaty of Sèvres in 1920, following World War I, dismantled much of the Ottoman territories, leading to the emergence of new nation-states in the Middle East under European mandates. The Republic of Turkey, established by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk in 1923, marked the end of the Ottoman Caliphate and the beginning of a secular modern state. Colonialism in the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia had profound implications for Muslim societies. In Egypt, British control, formalized in 1882, led to significant economic exploitation and social changes. The Suez Canal, completed in 1869, became a crucial maritime route, making Egypt a strategic asset for British imperial interests. Similarly, in India, British colonial rule brought about extensive administrative, economic, and social transformations. The decline of the Mughal Empire and the establishment of British dominance in the subcontinent significantly affected Muslim communities, who grappled with the challenges of modernization and colonial subjugation. The response to colonialism varied across the Islamic world. Some leaders and intellectuals sought to embrace Western ideas and technologies to strengthen their societies, while others called for a return to Islamic principles and traditions. The Salafiyya movement, advocating a return to the practices of the early Muslim community, gained prominence as a response to the perceived moral and spiritual decline caused by colonial rule. Leaders like Jamal al-Din al-Afghani and Muhammad Abdu called for a reform of Islamic thought, emphasizing the need for ijtihad, independent reasoning, and the rejection of blind imitation, taqlid. The struggle for independence in the Islamic world was marked by numerous movements and uprisings against colonial powers. In Egypt, the Wafd Party, founded in 1919, played a crucial role in the country's quest for independence, leading to the eventual withdrawal of British forces and the establishment of the Kingdom of Egypt in 1922. In India, the All India Muslim League, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, advocated for the creation of a separate Muslim state, leading to the partition of India and the creation of Pakistan in 1947. The Algerian War of Independence, 1954-1962, against French colonial rule was another significant struggle, characterized by intense violence and a protracted guerrilla war that ultimately resulted in Algeria's independence. The formation of modern nation-states in the Muslim world during the mid-20th century was accompanied by efforts to build national identities and modernize economies. Leaders like Gamal Abdel Nasser in Egypt, Sukarno in Indonesia, and Habib Bourguiba in Tunisia embarked on ambitious programs of industrialization, land reform, and education. Nasser's vision of Arab socialism and Pan-Arabism sought to unify Arab nations and resist Western imperialism, culminating in the creation of the United Arab Republic, UAR, with Syria in 1958. Although this union was short-lived. However, the post-colonial period also brought challenges, including political instability, economic difficulties, and social unrest. Many newly independent states struggled with issues of governance, corruption, and ethnic and sectarian divisions. The Arab-Israeli conflict, particularly the creation of the State of Israel in 1948 and the subsequent wars, had a profound impact on the Middle East, leading to enduring tensions and the displacement of Palestinian populations. The 1979 Iranian Revolution marked a significant turning point in the contemporary history of the Islamic world. The overthrow of the Shah and the establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran under Ayatollah Khomeini introduced a new model of governance based on the principle of Velayat-e-Faqih, guardianship of the jurist. The revolution had a profound impact on the region, inspiring Islamist movements and challenging the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East. Iran's stance against Western influence and its support for Shiite groups in the region have continued to shape its foreign policy and relations with other countries. The late 20th and early 21st centuries witnessed the rise of political Islam as a significant force in many Muslim-majority countries. Movements such as the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, the Islamic Salvation Front, FIS, in Algeria, and the Justice and Development Party, AKP, in Turkey gained prominence, advocating for the implementation of Islamic principles in governance and society. The success of the AKP in Turkey, under the leadership of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, demonstrated the potential for Islamist parties to gain power through democratic means, although this has also raised concerns about authoritarianism and the erosion of secularism. The contemporary Islamic world faces numerous challenges and opportunities. The Arab Spring, a series of uprisings that began in 2010, highlighted the widespread discontent with authoritarian regimes, economic stagnation, and social injustices. While the initial optimism for democratic reforms and greater freedoms was high, the outcomes have been mixed. In some countries, such as Tunisia, democratic transitions have been relatively successful, while others, like Syria and Libya, have descended into prolonged conflicts and civil wars. Economic development remains a critical issue for many Muslim-majority countries. Efforts to diversify economies, reduce dependence on oil revenues, and address unemployment and poverty are ongoing. Countries like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia have embarked on ambitious projects to transform their economies and societies, including investments in technology, tourism, and renewable energy. Vision 2030 in Saudi Arabia, spearheaded by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, aims to modernize the kingdom and reduce its reliance on oil, although it has faced criticism for its human rights record and political repression. Globalization and technological advancements have also brought new opportunities for the Islamic world. The widespread use of social media and digital platforms has facilitated greater connectivity and the exchange of ideas. Young people in Muslim-majority countries are increasingly engaged in global networks, advocating for social change, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Islamic finance, which adheres to principles of Sharia law, has grown significantly, offering alternative financial models that emphasize ethical investments and social responsibility. The role of Islam in contemporary society continues to evolve, with diverse interpretations and practices reflecting the rich tapestry of Muslim communities worldwide. Debates over issues such as gender equality, human rights, and the relationship between religion and state are ongoing. In many countries, women are playing increasingly prominent roles in politics, education, and business, challenging traditional norms and advocating for greater rights and opportunities. Islam's global presence is also marked by its significant diaspora communities, particularly in Europe and North America. These communities contribute to the cultural diversity and economic vitality of their host countries, while also navigating issues of identity, integration, and discrimination. The experiences of Muslim minorities in non-Muslim majority countries highlight the complexities of coexistence and the importance of intercultural dialogue and mutual understanding. The contemporary Islamic world is thus a complex and dynamic mosaic, shaped by historical legacies, diverse cultures, and evolving challenges. The journey from the colonial era to the present day reflects the resilience, adaptability, and creativity of Muslim societies in responding to changing circumstances and forging new paths forward. The ongoing quest for justice, prosperity, and spiritual fulfillment continues to drive the evolution of Islam in the modern world, offering valuable insights and contributions to the global community.